Alright, what's going on, everybody? So the Ubisoft Forward E3 2021 live stream just ended, and I gotta say, it was pretty mid. I went in with low expectations. I wasn't expecting them to show us anything too big. I definitely wasn't expecting them to show me a bunch of games that appealed to me, because I feel like the current Ubisoft, their current output, a lot of that stuff just doesn't appeal to me. I think the best things that they showed, or I think the best thing that they showed, rather, is Far Cry 6, the season pass for Far Cry 6. Honestly, I think that season pass is probably more appealing and enticing to me than the Far Cry 6 game itself, but we'll get into that later. I will say, just to kind of give Ubisoft credit, they showed gameplay for a lot of the games. Yeah, they showed CGI trailers. Some of that stuff was CGI. I couldn't tell with certain games whether some of that stuff was CGI or whether that was like in-engine stuff. But for the most part, they showed gameplay. They talked about updates on some of their current games. And that's another thing that I can kind of say, regardless of how you feel about Ubisoft, at least they support their games. A lot of their games are live service games, but they always support their games. That's one thing you can say about Ubisoft. Even if the game comes out trash, they'll still support it. So that's one thing that you got to give it up to them for at least doing that. But let's go ahead and kind of get through. So I wrote down a lot of the stuff that they showed. There was a point in this where I basically checked out, much like with the Summer Games Fest the other day. There was a point where I kind of checked out and just like left the room and then came back. But I got just about everything that they showed. So the first thing that they showed, Rainbow Six Extraction, formerly known as Rainbow Six Quarantine. They showed a CGI trailer at first, and here's what I'll say before I continue. I like that, at least like for the most part, I want to say they showed the trailer, the gameplay and stuff beforehand, and then we got the developers talking about the stuff, and then I will say that I like the order in which that they sort of went about as far as showing the games off and everything. So, just to continue with what I was saying, Rainbow Six Extraction CGI trailer, we got that. And then we got the release date, September 16th, 2021. Like I said, the developers went out to talk about the game. And I'll say this about the aliens. I felt like at first the aliens kind of looked generic. Like there's this one alien called the Apex, and it kind of looked like the Predator. And like there's these other aliens. I don't know how to describe it, but there was one that like, it looked like it'll just explode on you or whatever. Like, it was just generic looking aliens. The game will have a cross-platform play. Will be cross-platform, by the way. So they showed gameplay. They actually did show gameplay alongside the CGI trailer. It kind of reminded me of that game Fear. I don't know if some of y'all might not even remember that game. But it kind of reminded me of Fear mixed with like Left 4 Dead, and then they kind of mixed it with the Rainbow Six sort of strategic gameplay. But overall, what I saw, nothing too impressive there. Next thing they showed, they talked about Rocksmith Plus. They showed a trailer for that. It's basically a subscription service. I feel like they spent too much time talking about that. Riders Republic. So here's what I'll say about Riders Republic. They showed, it feels like, if I had to describe their approach to this game, it's almost like they just like, it's sort of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and kind of seeing what sticks. Like they just put everything in this game. Riders Republic, they showed a trailer and then they showed gameplay. It is a variety of extreme sports gameplay. September 2nd, 2021. That's gonna be the release date for that. A day after my birthday. Ain't gonna be buying that though. Rainbow Six Siege, they announced crossplay for that, and they showed an animated trailer for a new character called Thunderbird. Like I mentioned before, Ubisoft always supports their games, and Rainbow Six Siege has been out for a while, so good on them for that, I guess. They showed a montage of game updates. Trackmania. I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It looked like that was like Brawlhalla or something. But they showed a montage of game updates. Really, when you look at it, they didn't really give us, as far as like new game announcements. I'm trying to think. They didn't really give. Hold on. If I go through this right now, yeah, they didn't give us any new game announcements. I'm trying to think. I don't think they gave us any new game announcements. It was mostly like just updates to stuff, and yeah, it was mostly updates to stuff. Really, updates to stuff, and I guess Just Dance, the new Just Dance game, is a new game. Technically, I guess, but I mean, who's checking for that? Speaking of that, why are people still buying this in 2021? Like, that's not even a game. That crap is. I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, Just Dance. It showed that. Listen, this is one of the couple of times that I tuned out during this. I saw that weird pink-haired weirdo guy dancing, and I just tuned out at that point. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They talked about a bunch of useless engagement numbers. They talked about and they showed a little bit of the Siege of Paris expansion that's coming in the summer. They're adding a discovery mode where you can live like somebody that was like in that era, which I think is kind of cool, but it wouldn't be my sort of thing. And then this is where they really wasted time. When they were talking about the Ubisoft films and TV stuff, I tuned out then also. I mean, we didn't come here for your TV and film endeavors. And another thing that I gotta point out, man, I talked about this the other day when I talked about the Far Cry 6 live stream and everything. Listen, oh my god, Ubisoft is so pretentious. Notice on all their trailers, they're just like, on all their trailers, they got a Ubisoft original stamp on it. They got this Ubisoft original label on it. And I went over this the other day. I won't belabor my point, but it's like, y'all are not Netflix. We know that y'all make games. And a Ubisoft original, like when you're putting that on trailers, you're trying to act like, oh man, Ubisoft, when you see Ubisoft, it is synonymous with quality, and it's not. And I feel like they're just being, God, it bugs me. I know it's a small thing, but it's freaking stupid to see a Ubisoft original on all their trailers. Like we moving on. Far Cry 6. So as I mentioned before, Far Cry 6 was the best thing that they showed. I was considering turning off the screen. I was just considering just like turning this off and go and basically kind of going to do something else at this point until they show Far Cry 6. Like I said before, it's like the best thing that they showed. The new trailer was entertaining largely because of Giancarlo Esposito's performance, and that's how they get you. They get you with with their villains. They always try to do something interesting with the villains. Although I will say the other Far Cry games, like I want to say, like each one after 4, it really wasn't interesting every time that they would show these trailers. But Giancarlo, of course, he's gonna give a good performance. But yeah, so like that was the most if I'm being honest, that was the most entertaining part of this whole thing was Far Cry 6. And then they also announced a season pass where I mentioned this earlier, a season pass where you can play as Voss and the other villains, and that's cool. That actually looks, as I mentioned before, that like it looks more enticing and interesting than the main game itself, if I'm being honest. And then after that, they showed Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. That actually got leaked by Nintendo, not Ubisoft, because Ubisoft is known for leaks. In case you didn't know, Ubisoft games always be leaking, and it's just kind of funny that Nintendo accidentally leaked it. So, but yeah, we already knew about that, and this is another time where I briefly left the room. If I'm watching a presentation, a conference, and I'm constantly leaving the room or checking my phone, that's a bad sign. I don't have to like every game that they showed. I don't have to like every game that they showed, but they got to keep it interesting. They got to keep it interesting. And then, so the last thing that they showed was Avatar. And I said this in my E3 predictions video. First of all, I forgot that this Avatar game was in development until the other day, and then also I wasn't expecting them to show this, but unfortunately we just got a CGI trailer and a name. We got a CGI trailer, a name, and a release window. It's gonna be called Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. It's coming out in 2022. We didn't get any gameplay, so that's a disappointment. I mean, if we got gameplay, then I would at least gave them points for that. But we didn't get no gameplay. We just got a CGI trailer, and This game, I feel like this game is just coming out like many years too late. I know that Avatar 2 and 3 and all that stuff is in development, but is anybody really checking for Avatar now? But yeah, man, overall I thought that this live stream, their whole showcase, it was pretty boring. It's pretty bad, but like I said, I can't be I can't say I'm disappointed because I came in with low expectations, man. If I had to give them a grade, I'd probably give them a D plus. I think the thing that saved it was Far Cry 6, surprisingly. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the Ubisoft Forward event for E3. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Thank you guys for listening and watching and everything. I'm out of here. Peace.